Hello and welcome to another episode of So Fly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How the heck are you?
I'm pretty sleepy. Frankie got up. My dog got up at very early to poo.
Oh yeah. What time are we talking about? 4?
No, before 6, and then I just
Imagine
couldn't
like
fall.
3.
Ugh.
Ugh.
No,
My
you
name
know
is Mitch and got Aldo here.
Hi everybody.
And got
Let's
another
talk about
episode
my
for
dog crapping.
you. It's 10 a.m. We're recording another podcast for you here. We've got a fun one today with a fella named Esteban from a content project called Taiga Fly Fishing on Instagram. So we'll get into that in a little bit. He's from the Yukon originally, but now lives in BC. And he's, new to the world of fly fishing, relatively, a couple of years. But it's kind of offered him an interesting path in life. He's really getting a lot out of it. But it was cool. We got to chat to him about stuff like grayling and, things like grizzly bears and how social media is helping him create something fulfilling. It was a fun little chat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he reached out to us over Instagram, and his contact's really beautiful. Obviously, he spends his time now living in BC.
Yeah.
But growing up in the Yukon definitely offers an interesting perspective.
Yeah, for real.
And his family background comes from a pedigree of wilderness photographers, guides, and just a life spent growing up in the outdoors in the north, like in the north.
North.
Yeah. And yeah, so that was really cool. And talking about developing content and being inspired by his dad, and who is also a wilderness photographer and content maker. I know content seems to have a negative connotation, but
I guess it does. It's lacking the artistry in that word. Content sounds so disposable, something you eat up and throw out.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever you call it.
I'm sure there's a lot of OCAD projects that aren't art.
Pretty much all of them. Friggin' OCAD.
Yeah. But
fuck you, OCAD.
Yeah, fuck you, stupid creative pricks.
Anyways, it was fun, and it's one of those shows where we sort of just have a nice little, like, it was the first time we met Esteban, and sort of inviting you listeners into the conversation. So yeah, have a little glass of tea. Maybe you're on a car ride. Enjoy the chat between us. But before we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit more about stuff we got going on in our world, as we do every time. So why don't we just kick it off with, I don't know, any upcoming events? I mean, right now for SoFly, we don't really have any upcoming events because we're in the middle of summer and we're enjoying every second of it.
Yeah, we're just trying to fish as much as we can. But that being said, why don't we take a look at the old calendar? Why don't we kick it off this time? Why don't we start it with the Ottawa Fly Fishers? Because I always end it with them. So why don't we just give them a little highlight off the bat?
What are the Ottawa Fly Fishers doing right now?
So if you go to the ottawaflyfishers.ca, you can always look at their upcoming events. And I just shot myself in the foot because they don't have any.
Well, either way, go get involved with them if you're in Ottawa, because they're cool and they're always doing stuff anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they usually list monthly events, but maybe they're doing the same, which is just fishing.
Honestly, it's summertime, baby. And if you're listening to this, that means it's either the 15th of July or somewhere around then, or maybe it's years from now. I have no idea. But if it is around July 15th, 2024, you can head over to our Instagram page, because I'm going to be doing a bass fishing tour and posting in our stories, brother.
What?
Yeah.
The hell? This is news to me.
Well, I have next week off, so I'm going to go to Steph's cottage on the weekend.
Nice.
And fish with Bill. Steph's my father-in-law. And then I'm going to go to my cottage and fish for bass.
Not Bill Spicer?
No, not Bill Spicer.
Okay.
He could come. Bill, if you're listening. Spice Man, come on. Let's go.
That'd be so awesome. He just shows up to your cottage.
It would be awesome.
Mitch, I'm here for the bass.
It'd be kind of weird, because I'd be like, I didn't give you an address, Bill.
He'd find you, man.
Spicer, he knows.
The Spice Man loves bass, so if there's bass,
For real. But anyways, that's what I'm going to do this week. Which will be nice, because it's just been it's really been a really busy year so far. Like, it already feels like, I know for you, like you've been going nonstop.
You've
already traveled to like 80 countries. It's been crazy. So, it's kind of nice in the middle of I mean, we say middle of summer, but summer really technically kind of just started.
Kind of feels like the middle of summer.
I know. It already feels like it's
when
almost
recording this year.
friggin' over, you know what I mean? But it's just started. But anyways, yeah, good to enjoy it and just kind of get out and fish and stuff like that. I'm going to fish all lakes for bass. It's going to be a lakey, bassy thing.
That's great, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to be fishing, sinking lines, floating lines, but also bait casting lines. So bait.
Yeah, we're just back to.
I just honestly casting. I was up at the cottage last weekend tossing a spin rod. I was like, it's kind of just so chill. But I'm gonna do the whole shebang.
The whole kit and caboodle. Yeah. Drift does have some stuff coming up in July. The Advanced Euro Nymphing class is Saturday, July 20th, 1 p.m.
Oh yeah.
And Learn to Fly Fish class, looks like it's an intro to fly fishing, is Sunday, July 21st, 12:30.
There you go, Drift.
Oh yeah, driftoutfitters.com.
Cheers to y'all.
They've got 2 educational events. I think they're kind of thinking the same. Everyone's on the water at the cottage, so if people want to learn to fly fish, it's a nice time to do it because you don't need to necessarily worry about being cold or being in waders.
Yeah.
Show up to the river in your bathing suit, maybe some sand, some safe footwear, and
some SFW.
Some SFW.
You wanted that? You're gonna need that SF dubs.
And learn to fly fish so that you're ready to pound the rivers. Come
learn
fall.
To fly fish. So you're ready to fly fish. What else? Is that everything?
It's kind of everything. Always if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sipping from my little Yeti cup here, and it's got an Ontario Streams sticker. Yeah. Always keep peeled to Ontario Streams because they always have sometimes last minute volunteer opportunities to do stream rehab, tree planting, garbage collection, data collection, which is cool.
Yeah.
You can help them with data collection, which is kind of neat. And just all around good times. But yeah, we're just fishing right now, trying to as much as we can. I wanted to go tomorrow, but the remnants of Hurricane Beryl came barreling through.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk more about that in the outro.
Oh.
Okay. Got it?
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Man,
so I guess we're just going to chat with Esteban now. I'm stoked. It's great. We talk about Yukon, talk about BC, we talk about steelhead, king salmon, mental health.
Yeah, it's a nice kind of laid back conversation. It's relaxed. It's fun. There's lots of little tidbits, but kick back and enjoy the ride. Here it is. Esteban Timpani Engasser grew up in Whitehorse, though he spent most of his summers outside the Yukon at a remote camp in northern BC, where he helped with guided salmon trips and bear viewing adventures. Fishing didn't become a part of his life, though, until recently in 2022, when a guest at the camp got Esteban his first spay rod. Addiction and mental health has been a prevalent part of Esteban's life. Dropped out of school young, searched for a job that gave him purpose, struggled to find that hope, but did so in fly fishing and on the water. Spay fishing specifically helped him navigate out of some negative times in his life. And now he's sharing his story through his content project, Taiga. But today he's on SoFly. Esteban, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And you have a nice microphone, too, so you sound good, which is amazing. Most of the time people just come on and they're, it's totally fine. I'm not knocking anyone we've had on, but, it's computers, laptop microphones and stuff like that. And you sound great.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Where are you calling in from?
So I'm in Nanaimo now. We just moved into this new place, which has been pretty sweet. Yeah. So I moved to Ladysmith probably around March. And then, we just recently moved to Nanaimo, a bigger place. And, it's been sweet. It's very hot here though.
Yeah. It's pretty toasty in Toronto right now too.
Yeah.
It's cool.
have had a horrible heat wave that kind of broke today because there's a hurricane. There's remnants of Hurricane Beryl is making its way across Ontario.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Always nice to have another Canadian on the show.
I was just about to say
yes.
That. Yeah. we talk to a lot of Americans and people from other parts of the world. It's cool to talk to Canadians. But how's the fishing been? You've been fishing recently? You've been out on the water at all?
Yeah. I met up with a few people kind of that I met actually through Instagram, which is pretty sweet. And they kind of started showing me like the ropes of the island and stuff. But it's been very different, growing up in the Yukon. The fishing there is just like, I would say it's pretty substantial, like the difference.
For real, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. You can like cast, any time of the year for grayling on the dry fly and they'll hit it.
That's so cool, man. Growing up in the Yukon, even just that, you know, when we kind of met on, because we met on Instagram, and that's a cool place to kind of like get to meet people. And you reached out and you're like, yeah, I grew up in the Yukon. It's like, well, damn. I mean, like, you know, we grew up in Ottawa, you know, Ottawa's great, but the Yukon, when you want to go fly fishing, I mean, geez, all year long, you can get grayling all year.
No. So, you know, obviously in the winter, everything freezes up. Yeah. But they're very aggressive fish for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But
can't fly fish in the winter there, Mitch.
But like spring, summer, fall, grayling, it's just always good, I guess is what I meant.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
Dang, man. Well, okay. Well, we're gonna talk about that stuff in a bit, but because grayling, and I mean, we've touched on it a couple times on the show. It's like way up there on the list for things we want to catch. But you know, I know out there they're everywhere. But why don't we just kind of start with, you know, we mentioned in the intro you recently got into fly fishing, but you grew up like you say in Yukon and going to northern BC. Why don't we start with kind of how you got into the outdoors, and then when fishing kind of came along for you?
Yeah, sure. So. Yeah, I basically kind of grew up, I think, around wildlife. You know, being in the Yukon, most of the people that have grown up there are pretty used to wildlife. But I think I had a little bit of a special case because I, you know, got to go out to a camp. I spent most of my summers out there, and we did guided, you know, fishing for Chinook salmon and then also bear viewing. So I was pretty lucky, I think, in that manner. And then obviously when I came home, you know, there's always kind of a place to escape to if you wanted to in the Yukon. Like you drive an hour out of town, and
right,
you know, the chances of seeing anyone is pretty
in the middle of nowhere.
Slim. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, that was pretty neat. And then obviously, you know, being around fishing and whatnot, it was mostly gear fishing for me as a child. And I never really got too deep into it. I think like most of the time when I was fishing, it was just, you know, out there in the summer. But obviously we had guests, so there wasn't too much fishing that I could do. But yeah, and then fly fishing, you know, a lot of the guests that came to the camp, some of them were spey fishermen, and some, like, it's a very small amount, but I think some of them were fly fishermen. And I guess I was kind of, you know, introduced to that area of it quite young, but I never really had any interest in it. I think it really sparked my passion, I guess. But
did you fish at all, like on gear or anything like that when you were there, or were you kind of just helping out around the camp, which is also super cool as a kid, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I didn't start really guiding till I was about 18, I think.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, like as a kid, I would help out around a camp, and I would go out with the guests and whatnot. And I did a lot of spoon fishing, the little cyclops. They destroyed the salmon. Yeah,
I bet, man.
Really good. But yeah, again, like not super prevalent in my life. Like it wasn't, you know, I wasn't constantly doing it. It was just kind of something that I had access to once in a while.
Mm-hmm. And the fishing up there at that camp, I mean, like, what was that like? Like, was it just salmon everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's still affected by like all the other things, right? Like salmon returns are not all that great in general, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty good for sure. It doesn't have a lot of pressure. I think that's the biggest thing. So, I mean, you know, it's definitely not like here on the island. Like that was the biggest switch for me, was coming here, and you know, you're casting you know, all day and you're not catching anything. And even, you know, like I did some fishing in the Kitimat recently because I work up in Terrace with Brian there for Skeena Bay.
Right. And, cool. Nice.
Yeah. And, you know, like we did some early season kings, and we spent about 5 days on the river and never touched one.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So very different from where I grew up, I guess, because, you know, you cast, like, probably you could even make, like, take the end of a spoon or something and drill a hole in it, put a hook, and you
catch a fish. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd catch.
Really don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you move to Nanaimo?
So I moved to the island in March 1st this year. Yeah. Cool. And then I was in Ladysmith at first. We had like a temporary place, basically. It was very small. Mm-hmm. And then, I just moved to Nanaimo. So we're on a nice property now. We've got a garden and all that stuff. So.
Oh, wow. That's rad.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, the island's a special place for sure. Was that, and now you're at Skeena Bay, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's rad. And you're guiding there as well?
No, so I'm not guiding there. I'm just doing kind of like the social media
Oh,
marketing.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
which is, it's been sweet. Yeah, Brian really hooked me up with that opportunity, and working there has just been one of the greatest pleasures that I've had, for sure.
Yeah, it's rad.
Yeah.
So fly fishing, getting into fly fishing, like what? So it was like you mentioned it was a guest at the lodge that took you to get a spay rod. Like, what was that whole story there? Why the interest in it all of a sudden?
Yeah, so it wasn't. He didn't give me or take me to get a spay rod. It was more just. His name was Pierre. He was a Frenchman from France, and my mom is also from Alsace, which is in France. Yeah, so I kind of was able to, build like a small connection with him. And he had been coming to that camp for a long time, and he was, a spay fisherman. So I think over the time, I got to spend a lot of time with him every time he would come to the camp. So I kind of just slowly started to have this interest build up, with watching, this, especially the spay styles. I think it's just such an interesting and artistic way of fishing that I kind of started to grow fonder of it as time went by. And then it was funny because we actually ended up we bought a rod for a guest that was supposed to come. And I think this was during COVID. And so he was obviously not able to make it after all the shutdowns and stuff. And so this rod was just kind of sitting around there. And I think I went back in 2021, I believe it was. And I was going through the old tackle shop that we have there, and I found this Pureway spay rod, and I kind of just took it out, and I had this reel that I think Pierre gave me. He gave me one of his old reels, so I put it on there, and then that was kind of it.
Started messing around with it and got hooked.
Yeah, it was pretty bad at first. There, I didn't know anything about it, right? Like,
exactly.
So when I had I had a fly fishing reel, but it wasn't a spay reel. It was just like this rickety 7+ fly fishing reel on a 9-weight spay. I didn't have a Skagit head, so I was just shooting like this fly fishing line, basically. So
it
was
like a single hand line.
Yeah, it was. So it was not casting, and what I ended up doing was I would always, like single hand cast it, but with two hands, basically.
Yeah.
And then one of my buddies, Connor Cooper, he's the one that, he was a spay fisherman, and I kind of told him that I was getting into it, and he came down and brought me some Skagit heads, and it just took off from there.
Oh man, wild.
Yeah.
So then the content making and capturing this and creating the Instagram page, because I mean you got like 34,000 followers on your page, right? Like, it's a pretty good following, so when did that stuff start?
And the content rocks. Like, following aside, like you could have 500 and it's really high quality stuff.
Yeah, which is I appreciate that.
Which is amazing. No, that's all I had to say. Yeah. When was that something that you always kind of had a camera kicking around, or maybe a little bit more recently?
Yeah. So I was doing photography for a little bit, kind of like as a hobby as a kid. I think I got my first camera at like 16 or something.
Awesome.
Yeah. Down in, rocks. I think it was in San Francisco. Me and my mom went down there for a little trip. And yeah, so photography was kind of a part of my life. My dad is a videographer. He's pretty, well known and a very talented videographer, and so I've been around it a lot. And then
your dad's a shooter, so like that was his like one of his jobs.
Yeah. So he's So he just basically shoots wildlife, and he has like this big archive of stock footage, and then just sells
rad,
it.
Dude.
Yeah, super sweet.
I mean, what a setting to do that in.
Exactly.
Yukon, then northern BC, and now for yourself the island.
Yeah. So the videography thing kind of came to where I started fishing, and I was like, I'd been following Wildfly Scotty for a while, and I loved his videos so much, and a lot of my inspiration actually came from Wildfly. So I was kind of like, I should start doing this and just seeing how it goes. And at first, I think it kind of started on an iPhone. I was just kind of doing, a few videos here and there. And it kind of, I think the starting point of the page itself was actually me and Kelly, the guy that Backcountry Skids.
Yeah, Backcountry Skids.
Yeah. me and him started kind of chatting, and I bought some of his skins. I was super skeptical about them at first because I was like, oh, I'm in the Yukon, the water's cold,
Cold.
like yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
how good in this neoprene
yeah,
be?
yeah. And
Exactly.
so I bought them, and I wore them, and they like they were amazing. I think you guys talked about it on the show there where you tried them on for the first time, and you're like, holy smokes, this is
they're really comfortable.
Yeah, super awesome. So I made a few videos for him and Backcountry Skins in collaboration with our page, and those did really well. And so I kind of just was like, oh, shit, this is kind of working. So I kept posting, and then I was also able to get a hold of Hatch, which was really sweet. And
Cool.
I really, really appreciate Kelly and Adam, both Backcountry Skins and Hatch a lot, because they picked me up very early on. Like I didn't have a big following base. I really didn't have that many videos. And they just decided to give me a chance. And I think they are the fundamental, like they're the foundation of what Taiga Fly is basically at this point. So
super cool.
Yeah.
Maybe get into like, can you explain? Well, first of all, the name, and also like what's kind of like the idea behind the page, or what's your what's the kind of content that inspires you or that you like to make? I mean, obviously, for a little bit of context, Mitch and I, we do a lot of client work in our non-fishing life, and we there's certain content that we like to make when it comes to SoFly, for us that we like, or what we want our brand to be like. I'd be interested to know, like, what is like. I think I have a sense of it just from like watching your content and like looking at the page, and also just like the color tones you're using. But like, yeah, like what is Taiga? Like, what's the name? Where does the name come from? And kind of what's your vibe? Like, what do you like to shoot, or what would you like to ideally have? Like, if I dropped $5 million on your lap, what would you shoot?
Yeah. So Taiga Fly, Taiga means the boreal biome, basically. So growing up in the Yukon, I wanted to kind of be able to represent that a little bit, but I didn't really like the sound of boreal. And honestly, I had no idea what taiga was or what it meant. I think I did a little Google search for boreal, names that are a bit different, and taiga came up, and then Taiga Fly was just kind of the one that sounded the best.
It's got a nice ring to it. Taiga Fly. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah, it's kind of unique in a sense.
Yeah, man, totally.
But yeah, I think for shooting, that's pretty complicated, I guess, because there's so many different things to do, and I think keeping a broad spectrum of it is pretty important so that you never get bored. I tend to I can lose interest in things pretty quickly, so I have to keep having like these exciting things. But I think going through, like, I think cinema is basically kind of my like end goal. I want to be able to do production, films and shoots like that. But a lot of it too is just expressing my emotions, I guess, in a sense, through videography, and being able to capture moments and stuff, and make it feel like you're kind of almost there with us in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And has like Taiga unlocked anything really unique for you, like in life so far? Like, have you met anyone cool? Have you gotten any place wild? Like, what's it given back to you already?
Holy, yeah. I mean, that's it's definitely done a lot for me. Like, there was a few points in my life, not too long ago, where I kind of hit a pretty rock bottom sense, with mental health and addiction and all sorts of things like that. But the page was kind of my chance to I don't know, spread my wings, I guess, in a sense. Like it was what got me out of this rut that I was in, essentially. And I started creating, and then I felt like this sense of basically like happiness, that was kind of overcoming. As for people, I think Brian Niska is probably one of the most influential people that I've met so far. I'd reached out to him via email after I left the camp up in northern BC because I really wanted to expand my knowledge on fishing because I had only ever fished for king salmon basically. And it was kind of a long shot because I had no steelheading experience and all this stuff. And again, my page was still pretty new, but he gave me a call and was like, hey, swing down to a terrace and let's meet. And then you can, do some fishing for some steelhead and stuff. So yeah. And then, that kind of just went from there. But
that's cool, man. I mean, like the page and fishing together kind of created this, this foundation, this project that you could work on to sort of shift, your focus and your mind and get yourself out of those hard times, basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like we talk about social media all the time and it's like people talk shit about social all the time, like all these pages and this and that. Yeah. But like to your point, like it gives people the ability to create something for themselves. And in your case, like actually kind of get out of like what you described as rock bottom, right? Like build something up and give yourself the, that joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So was it, oh no, go ahead.
It was a very, very enlightening experience. Like, I wouldn't say that, it was the sole reason that I think like I got out of everything. Like I had gotten out of, all these things. Like I went to rehab. I did 6 months of rehab. And, after that, I went back home when I felt like I was ready to. And, obviously at that point I had lost, pretty much all my friends and I had to kind of regroup in that sense. A lot of the close ones obviously stayed close, but it was definitely tough because I felt like I didn't really have, much to lean on or, I just didn't have anything kind of going. Like I could just get another 9 to 5, but that was basically like, where the root of my mental health kind of started. So yeah, the page is what keeps me going, creating content for the people that want to watch it. And, it's just, it's definitely what keeps me going for sure.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, man. I mean, that's like, to have something that you can build. I totally know what you mean. Like, especially when you're working through stuff, I know when we were talking off air, you mentioned like, maybe this is something fishing in general that you might want to work on to help other people too. Like, do you have any kind of roadmap for that? Or like, what are your like aspirations or hopes with that kind of a thing?
Yeah, I think, when the time comes, I would like to try and bring, fly. I think it's already, quite a few people do it, but I think fly fishing and just getting out on the waters as a whole is super healthy for your mental health. I mean, listening, like I've even had moments where, if I'm feeling down, I won't even necessarily bring my fly rod. Like I'll just go to a river and just sit there and, you're not really thinking about much. Like nothing kind of goes on in your head. You just sit there and you're listening to the water and it's almost got like healing properties. And I've heard a lot of people say that as well.
Oh yeah.
But I think, sorry.
Yes. No, sorry. I was just saying, there's that restorative element to, water in general.
Well, like Project Healing Waters, Mending on the Fly. Like there's so many, there's a bunch of other organizations that have tapped into this notion, right? Because it's so restorative to your point.
Yeah. And then I think where fly fishing would fall in is like, especially with addiction, I think a lot of people that, go to rehab and try and stay sober after the fact is a lot of the time they'll switch their addictions to something else. Because, I don't think, I'm not really too sure how it all works, but I don't know if you ever really escape that, being an addict. So I think fly fishing is something that you can transfer an addiction to, which, would be one of the healthiest ways of doing it, right? Like you're getting out on the water and, catching these beautiful fish. And honestly, like the best part about fly fishing is really where it takes you. It's not even really, when you catch a fish, it's a big moment and it's super exciting. But I think the stories that you get to tell or the places that you get to visit is really what, drives most people to keep fly fishing.
Yeah, 100%. Man.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like, you get these, you get invited. Well, maybe you invite yourself, but you get invited to these little like places that, even potentially in your backyard, or even the city of Toronto, that you might not have ever scene, you know, because
like when I was fishing stormwater ponds with our friend Nick, catching carp. Like I would never come down here ever.
But totally, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think I know the, you know, I think the notion of mental health and addictions, you know, it's certainly changing and modernizing. But I think for a long time, people just thought, oh, it was like mending a broken arm. It's like, well, he's addicted to this. I went to rehab.
Now I'm healed. Yeah.
Which, of course, and obviously I'm laughing because I'm trying to make light of it. But you know, like my family's also has a history of, you know, addiction in it as well, and substance abuse. And yeah, it's not this thing that you can turn off.
Fix,
you know,
like that,
so I think you're right. I think, like, you know, part of going to the water, whether it's, you know, with a fly rod or not, is like this thing that, you know, you can sort of like, and, you know, it's like when you're coming out of using or whatever, it's depressing. You're depressed.
Yeah.
And like, so just doing, like getting yourself out of the house and just doing anything is an accomplishment. And that's a great feeling. And, you know, and you're moving your body, and, you know, you know,
all that stuff helps,
I can't speak to like how that changes the chemical receptors in your brain, but I know there have been studies that are like, you know, just moving makes you feel better. So it's like this, you know, getting outside and having this connection is awesome. Plus, then you add on to it being creative.
Yes.
And that's really, 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 you know, there's a whole other level to it. Does your, just because if you'd mentioned your father, does your dad's work, did that inspire you, or do you take notes from that at all, or is it so radically different from what you're doing, or what about his work either influenced you or didn't?
I think I would say most of my inspiration would definitely come from my dad's work. You know, like he's someone that I looked up to and you know, hold highly in my life. You know, his way of filming is definitely very old school. You know, it's kind of, you know, by the book and whatnot. And I think that holds a place for sure. But I think, you know, the social media aspect of it is very different. It's, you know, most of the time it's very fast paced edits and, you know, very new school, I guess, in a way. So I think there's some similarities, but some, like, it's also very different. But yeah, definitely, he's definitely been the source of my inspirations for, you know, most of my life. And then videography included. And cool. he's also the one that like taught me how to use a video camera. You know, like all the aperture settings, like you know, the 180 degree rule, shutter speed, and all the good stuff like that.
Yeah, that's rad, man. Is his work online anywhere, like for people to check out if they want, or is it sort of just like
he's got I think Omni Films did a movie on him called Facing Grizzlies. I think you can watch it on the Knowledge Network.
Oh, cool. Facing Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Wait, Facing Grizzlies. What's that? That sounds really scary, brother.
Yeah, so it's a story of
his... too derailed, but that does sound pretty interesting.
Facing Grizzlies. So was he just like living with grizzlies, like Grizzly Man style?
Kind of, yeah, but without the disrespect and trying to touch them and whatnot,
Dude. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really interesting, the Grizzly Man thing. So wait, okay, yeah, that guy, I mean, I don't want to derail too hard, but like, I know that's probably an interesting
It's not Bearfly or So Bear.
It was it was just a cool story. And I wonder, like, out there in the West Coast, and your dad's obviously into the Grizzly, like, cinematography and stuff. What is the story, like the kind of feelers behind Grizzly Man, that he was just kind of disrespectful and not really a guy that was doing the right thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much on it just because I don't think that, like, I have an opinion, but I don't think it's you know, it's obviously kind of biased in a way.
Right, yeah, sure, right.
But yeah, I think he, you know, also sadly struggled a lot with mental health.
Yeah.
And you know, the movie does a really good job at portraying, I think, what was going on. I think, in my opinion, it was very, you know, what he was doing was very selfish. Yeah. I don't think he was really, you know, he kept talking about how he wanted to, you know, protect these bears and save these bears, but you know, in the end, he ended up doing more harm to them than anything. And you know, grizzly bears are a very, very special animal. They are extremely smart, very self-aware. A lot of people like to say that they're not, but they very much so are. And they have a lot of tolerance for, you know, basically, like, if you fuck up, Like they forgive you very easily. It's quite impressive. So yeah, I don't know. He he was struggling for sure. The Grizzly Man guy, Timothy Treadwell, I believe his name was, and I think that he needed help, and I don't know if his approach to what was going on was the best one because
well, of course, yeah. I mean, we know how that ended. But did you and your dad have you ever spent time with grizzlies with your dad or?
Yeah. That's kind of what I did. After the fishing season, it just comes right in.
Out with bears.
Yeah.
So people would come in and just and want to photograph and view bears.
Yeah. So it's photographers. They would come in, they'd book trips, and then
That's sick. So how close are you guys getting to these bears? And again, not bear talk, but
it's kind of hard not to get really interested in this.
It's very interesting. Like grizzlies are I think everyone's fascinated by grizzlies because they're such, like you said earlier, amazing creatures. But yeah, what's the viewing experience like?
It's very organic. Like he's been there for a long time, and basically, I would say essentially he's built relationships with these bears, and so it's all, there's no fencing or any of that stuff that you'd see in Alaska. I mean, in some spots in Alaska, but I mean, some of the bears get, I don't know, 6 to 8 feet from you at times. Sometimes they're across the river. It's a mutual friendship in a way. Like they respect us, we respect them, but we also have boundaries, and they also have boundaries, and we kind of accept that. And I think the biggest thing that we've learned, well, that I've learned from my dad personally, is that we are not like where we are, and where when we spend time with them, we are not like in control of that situation. Like they are not in our camp. Like we are guests in their forest, on their river. And I think that helps build that kind of mutual respect, basically.
So fantastic perspective.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, they definitely are they're king of that area. You know what I mean? Like, so they demand that kind of respect. They're just the coolest things.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. So that's a wild life, man. What was it like growing up in the Yukon? Like being a kid up there and, like you say, just going to catch grayling whenever you want.
Yeah, so the Yukon's an interesting place. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. I love the scenery of the place, like how wild it is, and how there's a pretty small amount of people there. I think there's I don't know what the numbers are now, but I think Whitehorse is 34,000 people, and then the rest of the Yukon, with Whitehorse included, is 40 something thousand. Might be more than that now. Yeah. So not a whole lot of people, obviously, but
yeah, wow.
It's also I would say, can be a hard place to live as well. We get the land of the midnight sun, right? So the sun doesn't set, basically. But then in the winters, you get a lot of seasonal depression.
God, I imagine so.
Yeah, I think we get 4 hours of sunlight at some points in the river, which is pretty tough, I think, mentally and physically on your body too.
For real.
And drugs and alcohol are pretty prevalent up there. But it's kind of worldwide as well. But it's an interesting place. It's beautiful. I've really felt like I had to get out of there for my own personal reasons. And I think in order to grow as well, I didn't feel like I was able to grow much, especially with Taiga Fly in general.
For sure.
But yeah, it's beautiful.
I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a small town, right? Like like you say, that's not that many people in Whitehorse. I thought there was way more people in Whitehorse. I didn't know it was around that, but you're right. 30,000 ish. That's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, Aldo and I both left Ottawa, which wasn't small, to come to Toronto for the bigger thing, we get it. But it's such a, talk about wild, remote place. You definitely must have formed a relationship with just nature, just in living in a place like that,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, most of the kids that I grew up with out there have, a pretty good relationship with nature in general, even if they're not super outdoorsy people.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to live. I think it's a great place to grow up as well. I just think you kind of need to be ready for, the harsh winters, and, the fact that their privacy is not exactly a a thing up there. Everyone knows everyone. So
right.
Yeah.
The community's super close,
and that long darkness. Do you ever go back to like now that you've kind of fallen in love with fly fishing? Do you ever go back to re-explore some of those waters with the fly rod?
Yeah, so definitely have some plans for that in the future, for sure.
Nice.
I think I'm going to be going up there probably end of August just for pleasure and see my mom and stuff like that.
Yes.
But yeah, we're definitely working towards shooting some content up there.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really unique places in the Yukon that it has to offer, like pike fishing, grayling. We even have some bull trout in the southern parts of the Yukon.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Super rad.
Grayling, yeah, we've never got to fish for grayling, but you look at your page, you have one of your things, one of your posts are pinned, and there's this absolutely gorgeous grayling. Is that from northern BC? Or I mean, like, obviously not trying to spot burn here.
Yeah, so that one was, I think that one was northern BC.
So awesome.
Yeah, I think it was like kind of around Dease Lake-ish area. That was just like a road trip. We stopped in there. We weren't even expecting, it was me and my friend Jay St. Clair, and we really weren't expecting to catch much, and then we just started pulling out these, like 16 to 18 inch grayling out of the water, and we were like, holy smokes, yeah. But Yukon, you can find quite a bit of them like that too. Like grayling are so prominent in the Yukon that it's kind of hard to find a place that they aren't, I would say. Like they're like
they're like sunfish here.
Yeah.
They're like perch. Yeah.
So interesting.
And they're so beautiful too, right? Like they're
crazy beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me that like grayling, like the two places that I know, have grayling are obviously like an Arctic watershed, like the Yukon or something like that. But then also the chalk streams of England. It's like those are the two places that I'm from, like, and Scotland and whatnot. It's such an interesting range,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously I think that grayling is different than an Arctic grayling, but still.
And much harder to catch.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've heard we had some European clients come in, and I've talked to them a little bit about grayling fishing and how, I think just in Europe in general, though, fishing is, so pressured.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you really have to you got to get that. I think a lot of it is Euro nymphing, obviously. But you have to present it in such a manner that it looks like exactly identical to what, or else they won't bite it. So it's definitely tough. Whereas, grayling in the north is pretty.
They're like, whatever, if it's moving, it's probably food.
You could put a chubby Chernobyl like this, and they would smash it.
Smoke it.
Yeah.
Oh, but what a lovely, what a fun.
Well, the cool thing, the thing I think everybody's so enamored by grayling is just the way they look. Because when you think about fish, they totally represent, or they often look a lot like the places they live. And grayling, that dorsal fin just takes me to the sky and the northern lights and all that cool, iconic northern stuff. And it's just it's crazy when you say they're everywhere and they'll eat anything. Because it's it looks like a unicorn, it's like the most treasured thing you can catch. And it's like you say, it's like sunfish here. It's like we just go down and we'll catch 100. It's like, what do we do?
Yeah,
we gotta go.
Yeah, my friend Skylar calls them the princesses of the north.
Yeah, exactly.
They're really, they're super super interesting fish. Very robust too, super strong. Very gnarly. You wouldn't when you look at them too, they're almost kind of I'm not really not sure what species they are, but they're kind of like a sucker fish almost.
Right. Yeah. And that kind of.
Yeah. But the fact that they'll they'll hit, woolly buggers or, big giant chubby Chernobyls on the surface is it's kind of mesmerizing in a way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Cause
actually the same.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting because you're right. To look at them, they almost have that suckerish look to them. If you can totally ignore the fin, and it's not exactly a down shaped mouth, but and they're taking dry flies,
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, there are species of freshwater fish in the salmon family, which is kind of neat. T. arcticus. Wow, cool. Spread throughout the Arctic, Pacific drainages in Canada, Alaska, Siberia. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean,
Siberia is the taiga as well.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
same biome.
That's a good point.
Same biome, which is really, really cool when you think about it. You're so north. So you're 2 years into fly fishing. you're fishing in some pretty amazing places. What do you like fishing for? Like if you had a day off and you're just like, I'm gonna fuck off and go fishing. You've obviously like there's king salmon all over your page. There's pike on your page, whatever. What do you like fishing for? Like what's kind of got your like what are you obsessed with right now?
I have yet to catch a steelhead.
Okay.
I have not personally caught one yet. I think that would be, something that I'm very much so looking forward to. I think there's such an interesting fish, and I think a big part of that for me is, the fact that I came from the Yukon and that you can catch, all these, you can catch grayling, like hundreds of them if you wanted to in a day. Whereas steelheading, you have to fight for it really, like, tooth and nails basically. And I think there's kind of like an appeal to that for me. I think that, having to work for a fish and, sometimes spending like the whole weekend and not catching anything. And it helps me also, like, it reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I spend so much time, on the water and whatnot. But I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't really been doing much fishing lately. I do a lot of filming, so I would say 80% of the time I'm, behind the camera, which is, it's nice a lot of the time, but I think sometimes I kind of, wish I could just put it down and start fishing myself, but it's harder.
Well, what next projects got you stoked? Film-wise, or is it top secret?
Yeah, are you sworn to an NDA?
No.
Before we divert too much, like I totally get, like, we get you, like the more people we meet that do this, we're lucky that Mitch has worked with, like, for his other life, has been working with the Fly Lords guys, and
so fun
meeting guys like Junior down in South Carolina. Like, as much as we all love to fish, when we've got the camera, you're usually not fishing. Or like Fred Campbell at Hook A, like he said the same thing. He's like, I very quickly realized that, if I've got to film, I have to film. I can't film and fish. You either do one or the other, or you're doing both of them shittily. You're either fishing bad or filming bad. You got to pick a lane and be that person. Yeah.
And then I think finding the time to just do it yourself would be kind of the answer for, going out and fishing. But it's hard to do that, I would say, just because, you'll have a lot of moments that'll happen and you'll be like, fuck, I wish I had my camera, man.
Yeah. That's when that perfect dry fly eat happens or whatever. Or you get that.
And a lot of the time too, you're not like, when you have the camera in your hands, I think you're a little bit distracted and hyper focused on getting the shot. Whereas if you don't have the camera in your hands and you're watching, the fly and, in real time, and then it happens, you're a lot more like attentive almost to like all the things that are going on. Whereas when you have your camera, you're very honed in, staring at the screen and whatnot. So, but next projects, like you were saying there, I don't know too much. I'm not a very well planned guy. I kind of just wing most of the stuff that I do. But yeah, I'm going back up to Terrace soon here, and we'll be doing some shoots there. Super excited for that because the season's starting up, and but I will hopefully be doing something with Kelly with Backcountry Skins.
Oh, nice.
We're thinking about doing some bull trout rodeo things and kind of shooting like a little short film surrounding that, which will be sweet. Because I haven't really met Kelly in person yet. We FaceTime quite a few times and got to connect that way, but I'd really like to meet the boys and spend some time in the backwoods with them. So
yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah,
super nice guy. Eh? Like,
yeah. I have a lot of respect for Kelly.
Yeah, it's a hardworking dude.
Yes, yeah,
it's a really hardworking dude. You're starting to build the YouTube page. I'm assuming for like a little bit longer form content. What's the quest for kings about? I was kind of curious about that. And has that come out yet? And sorry if it has, and I'm completely out of it.
No. So the quest for kings is still in production. It's very much so just a thrown together video. Me and my buddy Jay decided to, do a little bit of fishing in Terrace area, and I got a hold of Dawson Schwartz, who's also a content creator on TikTok there, and
is that super jacked blonde guy?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I know what you're talking about. I was like, is this guy the fittest dude in fly fishing?
Yeah.
Might be. He might be.
Yeah. So me and him exchanged messages, and then I kind of told him, I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Terrace, and it'd be kind of cool because I love collaborating, man. Like, I think it's one of my favorite things about all of this stuff is being able to meet these like-minded people that do the kind of the same thing and share the same passion, and we get out on the river and we get to chat, and it's just I think that's the best aspect of this whole thing for me. So I just let him know. I was like, I'm in Terrace and we should link up, and so we did, and we ended up fishing together and filming, and it was not planned. There was no structure to it, but we filmed it, and we're gonna post it.
Nice.
Probably, I would say at the end of the month, maybe early next month. But yeah, we're just, the YouTube thing is just kind of starting to get going. Like I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a challenge to switch from short form content to long form.
Yeah, for sure.
A totally different thing.
Yeah. Even though like that is more or less my end goal. Like I would like to do the YouTube thing, and I think long form content is what I would like to do. It's still it's a very abrupt switch, so I'm kind of trying to ease into it.
For sure.
In a sense, yeah.
Well, we're stoked to see where it goes, and I think it's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be fun to follow your journey. But okay. We got 5 more questions for you. Mitchy's Fishy's 5. These are the same 5 questions we ask every guest at the end of every show. We're going to ask you them now. Okay. Like I said earlier, they're kind of just general fly fishing questions. But the first one is, what is your favorite fish and why? If you had to pick a favorite fish, what would it be?
It's funny. Me and my buddy Jay had this discussion not too long ago. I think it would have to be grayling.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with just the fact that I kind of grew up, around them, and they're just such a unique fish. Like there's no other fish that's really like a grayling. Like the char family, a lot of them are very similar in a sense, I guess. But grayling are very like a standalone fish, and never have I had a boring grayling mission.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, probably
the trek's always fun.
Pretty interesting.
Yes.
Always an adventure.
A trek.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Dig it. Okay, if you could fish anywhere in the world right now, anytime, anywhere in the world, it's going to be the best fishing you've ever experienced. Where would you go and why?
I would probably say I'd go to Patagonia or Chile, and probably try and fish some golden dorado. I think that's been a bucket list fish for a long time.
Oh, for real, man.
Yeah, I think that would be ideal.
I mean, it just looks so wild.
Yeah.
It's starting to become like, we used to, I'd say like 3 or 4 years ago when we'd ask this question to people would be like, oh, Seychelles.
Seychelles.
We still get Seychelles, but Seychelles is being seriously taken over by the Dorado thing.
They're so hot right now.
They are.
But like, they're so cool. Like the rivers are like crystal clear, and like it's wild.
Yeah, and they're like some of the most aggressive fish. Like they just gnarly fish.
That's what I heard the fly lures dudes talk about on their podcast. Are like golden dorados, like a red fish and a brown trout, and like all these fish in one. It's just like talk about ultimate sport fish. I mean, they're so cool looking too. They're literally gold.
Yeah, I saw someone told me that they were like the bulldogs of the fish world.
Yeah, like they're kind of mean.
Big head, short, stout body.
Just angry.
Yeah, very angry.
I feel you on that, man. Well, hopefully one day you get to do it. I'm sure you will, and it'll be a wicked video. Number 3, what is your best or favorite fishing memory? One of your best fishing memories of all time.
Ooh.
If you had to pick one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would say it's probably one of the king salmon there. Probably like the big king that I have on my page there.
Yeah.
I worked pretty damn hard to getting that fish, and spent quite a few weeks, and then I think just the moment of it happening, and it was also when I just started spay fishing, so it was influential, I guess, in a way. It was kind of, I think that fish was definitely the starting point, for me, in being like, holy shit, this is what I want to do.
What was it like when you hooked it? Like, what happened to your mind?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I don't know if I can remember exactly what it was like, but I think there was a few moments where I was like, holy shit, I'm going to lose this fish.
Yeah.
Like kings, a lot of the time, those big kings, in the river systems, a lot of the salt guys will be like, we don't fish river kings because, they're going up. But realistically, that's what we did because we don't have access to the ocean. So a lot of those fish will just sit at the bottom. Yeah. Like I'm sure they do the same in the ocean, but they'll just sit there and they almost feel like a stone. And then it's not really until you see them finally like get agitated and jump out of the water that you're like, holy fuck,
hooked up.
That's a huge fish,
Yeah.
So
that's sick.
It was pretty sweet.
It's crazy, dude. Yeah, like a giant salmon on like your first one too. It's like, Jesus. Love it. Okay, number 4 is, why do you fly fish? Why do you keep going back out there?
It's for me, it's definitely mental. It helps me through my struggles. Like I've never had a shitty day on the river ever. I've never gone out to the river and been like, man, I fucking hate my life.
Yeah.
It's just not how it works. Like
always good.
The places that it's taken me and the people that I've been able to meet because of fly fishing. It's just there's nothing I think in this world that I would rather do than be on the river with a fly rod, even if it's alone, Yep.
It's a good point, man. Even like bad days are fun.
Yeah.
I feel you there.
Yeah. Even if you don't catch them, you're still having a good time.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Just very important.
Good perspective to have when you're like you're looking at a bird's nest.
Totally.
Or you keep snack, or like you've snagged.
Cold, it's raining sideways, you're not catching shit, and it's cold. It's like, well, you know what?
It's
I'm alive and I'm in a river. This is pretty sick.
Yeah. I could be sitting, somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
In the mines or something, inhaling,
God, for real.
Dust.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah.
I got the black lung. What was that from Zoolander? That would be me. I'd be like Derek Zoolander in that scene.
Like one day on the job, you're just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5 is, what fly pattern represents you best and why? If you were a fly, what would you be?
I have no idea. Holy smokes.
It's a fun one.
It's a trippy one.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
I don't know, man. I'd probably say a woolly bugger, I guess, of sorts. I think, I feel like I'm pretty, I don't know if I'd say diverse, but I just, very.
Like adaptable.
Adaptable, yeah. Like I like to, if there's a fish there, I'll just adapt to it and throw a woolly bugger on, man. Like they'll catch anything.
What color of woolly bugger in the north? Is it just like straight up like black leech kind of style, or is it like purple and neon green or something?
Yeah, maroon is good. And olive, a lot of olive, natural kind of colors.
I'm a big olive.
Yeah,
olive's great.
I oddly have I have this like dish. If you're watching on YouTube, it's like the fly almost graveyard. It's like they could be salvaged. You got some pike flies in here or whatever. But I was going through it the other day.
Is that one
just
from Attawapiskat in there?
Actually, it is. This fly is from the Attawapiskat River. This is from 2017. Well, I don't think I can separate it from the other ones.
Yeah.
So it's just this one.
So what were you find? What'd you find in there when you're going through it?
I just was like, this isn't very interesting, but I just found like this like clump of totally fine woolly buggers.
Oh,
I don't like
jackpot.
I think I might have come back from like teaching like doing a fly fishing 101, and I was just like, I threw them on the desk because I've got them all. I've got white. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, but like maroon.
Got a shitload of woolly buggers.
I don't know. Yeah, maroon's interesting though. I've always confidence for me was always olive.
Yeah.
Especially
I think olive
with a little hot spot.
Yeah, with an orange head.
Yeah.
Oh man, grayling smash those.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like crystal. I think crystal, crystal chenille, orange hotspot, olive, big confidence fly for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
But maroon too, yeah. But that's a good answer.
Yeah, man. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the show, Esteban. I mean, thank you for coming on and chatting with us about your fishy life and where things are going. But, where can people find your stuff?
Yeah, shameless plug time.
Plug away. We'd love to drive people to, your Instagram page and the work you're doing.
Yeah, so we're on Instagram as Taiga Fly Production. That's Taiga Fly Productions. TikTok is the same thing, and then YouTube is, I think it's Taiga Fly or Taiga Fly Productions, all the same stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm on it right now. YouTube's changed to handles as well. I don't know if anybody actually uses them, but it's at Taiga Fly Productions.
Perfect.
I'm sure you could just search Taiga Fly and it'll come up.
Yeah. Nice.
Amazing. Well,
thanks for your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
No, for sure. It's always nice meeting another Canadian creator and
yes.
Oh yeah,
and angler and so you're on a different coast than we are, so it's always cool to talk about the West Coast, especially from a slightly different perspective, because we're always talking about steelhead when it comes to West Coast for obvious reasons, but it's cool to talk about king salmon, grayling, and your path from the north to the slightly less north.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, and if you guys ever come by this way, let me know.
Maybe we can...
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
I actually will be there in November.
Okay. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
You're going to northern BC in November?
No.
The island? You're going to the island?
We'll be we have a wedding. My partner Bree and I were going to her best friend's wedding, which is actually in Vancouver, but then we have plans to meet some friends in Squamish and also on the island.
Squamish is sweet. Squamish is dope.
Yeah. Squamish is awesome. If a long-time friend of the show, actually, his name's Joel. Actually, if you ever meet him, he's a rad photographer. If you ever need a photographer, and he shoots really great motion. He does a lot of work for Fishing BC.
Okay, sweet.
So you guys should get connected because he's rad and you're rad, and I know you guys would make some good stuff together. Yeah, plus he's fun. He's a fun guy.
That's important, man.
Love you, Joel. Hell yeah. All right, thanks again, Esteban.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And there it is. Esteban. Chat with Esteban. Esteban.
What a nice guy. Holy shit.
Yeah, very nice guy. He's it's cool that he's found it's fun to chat to all kinds of people. This podcast, we chat to seasoned pros, we chat to new people that have found the sport recently, we chat to any and all. So it's cool to hear from people just getting into the sport now. I mean, he's always been around fishing and grown up in a very, very wild place, which is very cool. But to see how fly fishing is kind of, influencing his life. I also
thought Whitehorse was bigger. I didn't think there was 1 million people there, but I thought it was at least 100,000.
So did I. It's like 30,000.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, it's really small. I didn't know that either.
That's 2/3 of the seats in the Sky Dome.
That's crazy. I mean, it makes sense because it is like even how he's talking about, like it can be a difficult place to live. It's maybe for a very specific type of person because the harsh winters, the dark nights, all that stuff. I mean, God, I
don't know if I could do those dark nights. I think I could like a bit, and then
maybe for a year. But like winter, winter's the older I get, like the later stages of winter drive me insane.
Like
because
the melt?
It's just like the dark, cold, never ending. Like, God, would it just warm up, please? Like by March, April, it's like God. It just feels like such a relief. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could do those long winters.
It'd be tough. However, being there in the summer sounds pretty great. Surrounded by grayling, pike, and
I mean, the ice fishing up there would be pretty sick, dude. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, maybe I could because I could get outside. I do like winter if you can get outside, but I don't know.
Hard when you can't get outside.
Yeah, like when it's not really winter, but it's just kind of depressing.
It was a cool chat. I'm excited to see, he's saying he's building towards long form content, and I'm sure with the pedigree of his dad, kind of guiding the way. I don't see why it won't be really, really. It won't develop into something really, really great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is really cool.
So okay, well, you were saying before the interview, you were going to go fishing up north, but the rain is because the hurricanes just like wiped out the rivers.
Yeah, and so now I'm kind of like trying to pivot to much like yourself, like a lake-based plan.
Yeah,
a lake or pond-based plan. But the people I was going to go with are buddy Nick. They don't have I have a kayak. He doesn't. So now he's thinking of going to buy one, but I don't know. It's a lot of money to do.
Pretty fun.
Pretty fun. But it would be nice to get up north.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to veer off the path.
Wow, veer off the beaten path. There you go.
Of course, just drinking some non-alcoholic beer from Muskoka Brewery. Pretty tasty. Look how nice this looks, though. The scene.
That is pretty sick. Yeah,
that's what you're going to be. This is you. Like, it's just missing. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm just like, my can of non-alcoholic beer has a lake with a dock on it. And that's you, Mitch. It's just missing little Mitchy on the can.
Just sitting there and looking out into the universe, pondering the universe.
What you going to be fishing, brother?
Smallies. And largies.
What rods you bringing?
Well, I'm bringing my 8-weight Wrangler, my 6-weight butter stick.
How's that been for bass? You been enjoying that?
It's okay. I don't know. I had a big Marty's McFly on it the other day, and it was casting kind of strangely. I was like, I don't know if I like this. Like it was
I like what you did there with the
slow.
name. It's Scotty's McFly.
Oh, right, Scotty's McFly.
But
yeah,
Marty McFly
is
of
the
course
thing. Yeah,
that was awesome.
That's what it's from. I'm pretty sure how he got the name. Right?
Marty's Scotty's McFly. It's
Marty's
like
Scotty's McFly.
Chris Steakhouse.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Marty's Scotty's McFly.
Yeah, it was like a size 6 Scotty's McFly, and it was I don't know, it was casting a little strange. I didn't love it, but I'm gonna give it another whirl here on the little bass pond this week and see what's. I
feel like poppers.
Yeah, probably like it was just too big of a fly or something. You know, it was just I don't know. It was just feeling strange. The action felt strange.
Oh, okay.
But
as in, like compared to your other butter stick?
Yeah. The 4-weight, it's much more agreeable, and I feel like maybe the 8-weight was. I've heard so many good things about it, which they don't make anymore. I don't think they make the 6 anymore either. But it's they've made a different version of it. So,
yeah, that 8-weight was a lot of fun. I cannot lie.
Yeah, stay tuned for more updates on the butter stick. But yeah, the Wrangler, the butter stick. I've got those 2 rods coming with me for sure, and then. Yeah.
Any pike
big old
in that?
friggin' bait caster. I'm just going to troll spoons while I go to spots. There is no pike in that lake, although I did catch one when I was a kid. But it came out of the water, jumped out of the water, bit my lure off, and I was like, I was so young, I don't know if I knew what it was, but it was big, and I think it was a pike. Because there's a pike lake next to it. So I'm like, I bet you from time to time pike it in. But I'd be like, why wouldn't they take off? Like, it's perfect pikey thing, you know. So I don't know. It's weird. It's just full of largies and
this is
fall fish.
This is at your cottage.
Yeah. Oh, and
Steph's cottage. Sorry, I misspoke. I should have framed the question a little bit better. Steph's cottage.
There's big pike in there.
Oh yeah,
huge smallmouth bass. It's a spring-fed lake.
Okay.
With very clear, clean blue water. It's a sick lake, and the smallies are massive in it, like huge. Like my personal best came out of there. It was like a 5-pound smallmouth. It was actually 4.9 pounds or something. I weighed it. It was crazy.
Wow, you weighed.
Yeah, I had it. Bill like ran out. He's one like, of those. Where's the fish? I was like, all right.
Yeah. One of the old like
literally
rusty fucking yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the fish was totally fine, but it was actually like the holder was good. But
I just remember my grandfather having those like, and it, like, it would like it was a hook.
I had one too that I got when I was a kid from like Canadian Tire, and it instantly rusted. Yeah, it was like a rusty hook.
Exactly.
I was
it's like, a rusty hook. I'm like, you can't put that in a fish.
No, never gonna use this. But yeah, I weighed it. It was 4 point.
It's like hashtag swam off fine.
4.9er. Yeah. But yeah, it should be fun, man. I'm stoked that it's bass time. What are you guys going to do? So you guys are going to, this weekend you're going or next week?
Well, the plan was to drive up tonight and then fish tomorrow and then potentially fish somewhere tonight as well, like do an evening session somewhere. But definitely today's a write-off for sure.
Right.
Tomorrow's salvageable somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that does suck, eh?
But we might have to pivot and go some to a different part of the province.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then hang out there for the weekend kind of thing?
No, we could we both have to work this weekend.
Oh, so you're just going for tomorrow?
Well, the plan was to go tonight.
Right.
Have like a fun night tonight, and then fish tomorrow, and then come back tomorrow, or potentially early Saturday morning.
Are you guys working on Monday, Tuesday?
Oh yeah.
Just about to say, come on up. It's just gonna be me, like you say, on that beer can, sitting there.
What do you mean? Come up
down
where?
at the dock. Huh? Come to my cottage.
Yeah, I'm working Sunday, Monday, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna be in Quebec on Saturday, Sunday. Go to there Monday. Anyway. Well,
this is gonna be you.
Yeah.
For how long?
I'm just gonna like drink bone broth and meditate, and like heal my mind. For how long? I'm going for the
except week. For you, it's just drinking Faygo and like playing Nintendo Switch
and eating pizza pockets.
I'm meditating.
I'm gonna sit motionless for 5 days. I'm gonna catch fish and.
Well, I could definitely come up next Wednesday and Thursday if you're still there.
Purge my brain. Yeah, let me figure something out. Wednesday, Thursday, that could be kind of fun. That could be kind of perfect, actually, brother. Then Nick should definitely get a kayak, and he should join us. We should hit that pond. Things are really shaping up here, aren't they?
I would love to go to your cottage. I haven't been this year or last.
Yeah, we got to do something. Well, it's like we said, summer's just starting, and it's also almost over, so we'll have to figure something out. But anyways, that was a fun show, and hopefully everybody enjoyed it. If not,
fuck
whatever.
You.
Fuck you. I don't know what to tell you. We'll have another show for you on the 1st of August. Until then, thank you so much for listening, and take care. That's it for me, Mitch.
Yeah, that's it for me. You know, always nice if we get some feedback at info@sofly.ca, or if you want to rate us at Spotify.
Please go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and rate us. It helps us a lot just to get more visibility. We're trying to figure all that out because there's a lot of podcasts these days, and we want to try to get up there and at least just be able to show our face, in the podcast listing. So
yeah, you got a good one. You got a good face, brother.
Please go like and subscribe and comment on. Give us a rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It does help us. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Come here.